Calling the meeting to order. Our first order of business is to review and approve the minutes of our last meeting of December 21st. I sent them all out some time ago. Are there any corrections or additions? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve?
I'll motion to approve. Duke.
Second.
Second. Dan.
Dan seconds. All in favor, just raise your hand or say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Rusty, please tell us in as few words as possible the outcome of the soil offsite storage plan.
Well, it was a good news, bad news. The good news, we finally got to the right people, which was the deputy commissioner of the DOT, and he was happy to hear about the plan and marshaled the troops to make it happen. We had a conference call that had 19 people involved. And you can imagine everyone had their own thoughts and ideas. And by the way, it was all positive. By the end, everyone wanted to do it. But if you added up all the stuff that had to be done, we would be ready to move soil off the site in about 4 months. So unfortunately, I had to make the decision that we could not go forward with using that facility. It's too bad. It would have been a great PR thing for the DOT. Would have been good for the Merritt Parkway Conservancy, would have been good for us. It was a real win-win, but we simply ran out of time. For those of you who have been to the site, you've seen the pile of dirt. It's pretty big. And we'll just have to handle it some other way, which is being done. The deputy commissioner was very positive and said he wished that he'd been involved earlier. He could have moved it along, but if anything else opportunity comes up in the future, they'd love to get involved. So that's where we are, and a lot of work. Didn't get where we wanted to get, but at least there was a positive ending to it.
Thank you for your help on that one, Rusty. I know it was frustrating, but we have the Department of Transportation one more time for our electrical thing, so I hope we have a better luck with it this time. It's a different group, I understand.
Well, at least we'll know who to call if you run into an obstacle.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I know that the differential cost was not too bad because we were going to spend about $70,000 in doing the Merritt Park entryway, putting up berms and plantings and all that. Whereas the cost that Sean's lawn gave us for moving the soil offsite on his own was $160. So we're a net, what, 90 difference? Not a huge extra expense, and we had the bid for that amount in Sean's bid to begin with. To review and approve the amendment to the construction contract, which is.
Hey, Kip.
Yeah.
Kip, hold on one second. Let me just mute everyone, and then I'll turn your microphone back on just for feedback purposes.
Okay. Were you getting feedback?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. The purpose is to review and approve the amendment to the existing construction contract, and this amendment deals with the guaranteed maximum price. I sent that out to you about, I guess maybe 10 days ago. I've heard nothing back, but I'm sure there may be some questions. I think, David, if you want to run through it very quickly, or just the essence of the guarantees, I guess what the number is and how we got there.
Sure. I can share, this. So how it works is we have a contract with the town of Darien. It's the AIA 133, and it lays all the ground rules for how the contract for our relationship with the town throughout the process. but that contract was established before we knew what the actual value of all the work was. So one of the required documents is this one. It's Exhibit A to the A133, and it's the amendment to the guaranteed maximum price. This is what's actually establishing the cost of the project as far as the contract between the town of Darien and the ONGAP joint venture. So it, for the most part, it essentially states what that new value is, and how we arrived at that value is in a format similar to what you've been seeing in our estimates, where we break down the value of all the trade costs, any allowances in the project, the cost for staffing the project, insurance, bonds, the fee, and we get to the bottom line value. And that's the value that when you see our application for payment, when it starts, that's the starting value. When you see, any proposed changes, I know one of the first proposed changes that'll come to the committee is for a credit that we talked about relative to changing some pipe. So you'll see that, the value of the contract was 50 million. By this change, that change, the contract value will go up or down. So, and then with that is all of the backup information. It memorializes what happened with the entire bidding process. These are all of the bid results. The contract award, which the committee was very diligent in approving bidders. So it establishes who the bidder is, what the value, what alternates are included in their contract. It talks about alternates and which alternates have been accepted, which alternates have not been accepted. And actually, I think this version of the GMP I think this is the one that there is the version you have, Kip, is the more updated because it has the soil storage is included. The acceptance of that alternate is in it. It talks about allowances that are established in the guaranteed maximum price. And you'll hear us talk about allowances for things like the utility company charges, where we don't necessarily know what the value of that is now, but based on past projects, we put a value, and it's a transparent item that when we get the bill from the utility company, we apply it to that allowance, and any unused allowances or contingencies, they go back to the town. They are not for the joint venture to keep. They are the town's money, and they will be returned as they are not expended. You'll see one of the items here is the lockdown devices. Mike, I know we talked about through the bidding process that approximate value we thought that system was going to be worth, and we do in the near future need to start talking about what do we do to backfill that that scope of work that wasn't bid by the by the town's the person you had worked with. And then what we also do is we have a list of qualifications, assumptions, and exclusions where we go through various things. We talk about how billings happen, and it's just an itemized list that talks about what's included, what's not included. And actually, I must say that through the diligence of the town in negotiating the original contract, this list of items is very, very short. I mean, we have some projects where, because of ambiguities in the contract, this list of items is 50, 60, 70 items long. And here it's because of the contract, it's a very short list of items. And then we memorialize all of the documents in which the guaranteed maximum price is based upon. It goes through every drawing, every specification, lists all that and the date in which it was published. And then I believe after that, a majority of the information is the schedule, which is the baseline schedule for the project that that we're going to be following and updating as we go throughout the project. And then it also memorializes the staffing that is being assigned to the project as far as the commitment of time that's memorialized, and as well as what items we as the construction manager are providing, whether it be the printing and copying costs, job site communications. It lists through all of that. And these last two items, the staffing matrix and the CM reimbursables, those are just updates to what we provided to you in May of 2019 when we presented and proposed on the project. So that's really what the what the GMP is in a nutshell. And what I'm going to quickly do is jump over here. Kip, do you need from me what the correct value of that is?
No, I think that this is enough, because what happens is it's going to move up and down. It's going to make change orders and get credits and extra costs in. So this gives us a good point. I will be able to give a summary here for the committee. That I had two things I wanted to add is that Nick and Rusty, who are familiar with these types of contracts, and myself to some degree, spent quite a bit of time going through the GMP amendment. We did not look at the pages and pages of drawings, obviously, but we went through the numbers, and especially the additional costs that come from the staffing by the joint venture of ONG and AP, and the items that they've added in, and we're quite satisfied with that. So the total amount, I believe, the changed amount is $50,820,000. I think that's the right amount. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, correct. $50,820,214.
And I think, Katie, you had asked me, well, is this the entire contract? Well, the answer, of course, is no. We have all our soft costs, including the architect's fees, the furniture and fixture, the telephone system, and the technology and various insurances, and our contingency. There's a contingency within that 50 million, which is the ONG AP's contingency, and there's also a contingency within our costs. So the total amount, I roughed it up at 59 million. 59,109,000, and that compares with the original budget of 63 million, and it compares with over 64 million that we were at when we went through value management or value engineering, excuse me. It also includes a contingency of $2.5 million for the town and 1.4 million for the contractor. So we have a total contingency between the two of $3,974,000 in that total price of $59 million. The 59 again will change when we find out how much the furniture really is, how much the technology costs are going to be, but it's a good guidepost right now. Would you agree with that, David?
Yes.
So, are there any questions concerning this amendment? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the adoption of the guaranteed maximum price amendment?
Motion.
Second.
Rusty.
Rusty, and second by Duke. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
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 Any nays? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next item of business is about the Aconex system, and what I wanted to tell everybody about Aconex. Aconex is going to become the database, much like SLAM had the database for all of the architectural drawings and design work. Now, going forward, all of the information that we're going to need is going to be on the Aconex system, which is managed and run by ONG. We are going to give everybody on the committee and the ex officio members access to Aconex, so you can get on there if you wish to see all the detail at any time. And we'll be talking about some of that in the next comment or so. Nick, I guess, Nick, you're going to be running the classes or whatever to get people familiar with Aconex?
Yeah, so between Dave and I, we're trying to coordinate some time. So I've sent out an invite for next Tuesday, the 2nd at 4 p.m., as well as next Friday, the 5th at 3 p.m., to see if anyone's available for either of those sessions for ONG to kind of give us a walkthrough of the basics of how to use it.
I encourage everybody to get access to the Aconex system. I'm sure that you're not going to be using it extensively, but it is your basic information source. Whenever you have a question, you can find information on this system about the construction, what's going on, And it will also have all the minutes of the OAC meetings, which we're about to talk about in a few minutes.
Right. And right. So, and just a couple things with that. One is that everyone, if they haven't seen it yet, you will see an email come in from Oracle or Aconex, and it'll be for you to complete registering your account. We've added you to the project. So if you haven't seen it yet, I would say you'll probably have to reach out to Nick for now, because I don't have access to your credentials because you're a different organization. But that way, at least you get your account set up, and then I have, once you do get it set up, we invited you to the project. So when you log in, you'll see the Oxbridge project, and then we'll take it from there. Again, it's not. It looks like there's a lot in there, but what you'll benefit from is a very small portion of it. So it's not meant to be a daunting task to go and find information. It's meant to be one central repository. What you will be seeing, though, is that as we update drawings, because everything is in there, all the drawings, specifications, what we'll be doing periodically, as Brian Kelly, our project engineer, is keeping those documents updated, he'll send them out to the entire project, all the users, saying these new documents are there, and that way you can see them. So you will see some notifications from them, which they have a hyperlink. Like I said, we'll talk about it more, but it's the idea is to just have a place for you to find information if you're looking for it. And you can also put your own information in there as well, which we'll address that in the training.
I think it's very helpful that people understand that what they were getting before in SLAM, all the drawings and stuff, is now, everything will now be on Aconex. So you really, if you use SLAM's website before, which I'm sure almost everybody did to see what was going on, you're going to now be using the Aconex. Okay? Thank you. Rusty, we sent out the information concerning the Construction Oversight Committee. Maybe you want to just comment about this, Rusty? We passed this back in our November meeting, but I think what you've done is you've added a little bit more about the process.
Correct. It's exactly the same as was approved in a prior meeting. However, the process has now been outlined. Essentially, what's going to happen is if George or Scott or someone on site needs a quick answer to anything relating to construction, he is going to send a quick email to the members of the Construction Oversight Subcommittee, in addition to the ex officio members, and state a time. Whoever can be a part of that decision will jump on at the stated time. We'll have the discussion and the decisions will be made. Again, these are decisions that are not affecting the design or a major financial impact. It's just the day-to-day little stuff that comes in when you're trying to build a building and you've got people waiting to take some next steps that are being held up by some small decision. And that's really what it's for. I think it'll be quick, easy, and efficient as we go along.
Rusty, really quick, did you get the link from George for that?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. I'll follow up with George on that.
Okay.
Pat, I gather there are no questions about that. Are there any questions concerning the construction site subcommittee? Hearing none. Let me talk now about I'll introduce the concept and let either George or Dave carry the next part, which is the OAC meetings. OAC stands for Owner, Architect, Contractor. These meetings will be held twice a month, on the first week of the month and the third week of the month on Thursdays at 1:30. Scheduled for 1.5 hours. They usually are shorter than that. We've had 2 so far, and right before this meeting, I sent everybody on the committee a copy of the minutes of meeting number 2 to give you a flavor. Two things. We will make sure that you get minutes of the OAC meetings on a regular basis, because I'm sure you're all not going to attend these. We only really require people on the oversight subcommittee and as well as I know that Luke will be attending because they affect everything around the school, and probably Mike Lynch as well. These are really specific about contract issues, construction issues, I should say. There are issues about any changes that are going on. All of this will be in preparation to come back to get any kind of approvals that are needed from the full building committee. As a result of that, these meetings will be sort of precursors to our meeting, as I said, and I think we should now establish a regular schedule for the building committee to meet, because we'll have two things we have to do. We will have to review what's been going on through these OAC meetings. And also, we're going to have to approve an invoice each month. And we thought about this and we talked about it with David. We want to get them to be paid on a rapid, fast basis, but at the same time, we want to have time for everybody to both put together the invoice for the month and also for the committee to look at it and see what's going on and prepare questions for the meeting rather than getting it the morning of the meeting. So we've decided that the best time to meet on a regular basis would be the second month. And we're going to propose that we meet on a Thursday morning at around 12 o'clock, at least as long as we're doing this virtually. So there'll be 2 OAC meetings each month, and there'll be 1 building committee meeting on a regular basis. I'll publish that after our meeting if we approve of that. So there'll be some kind of, if you will, regularity to our approach rather than doing it here, doing it there. People establish their schedules accordingly. You want to talk more about the OAC meeting, Dave?
Sure. You recapped it pretty well. And actually, I'm sorry. Just give me one second here. Sorry. Just had to send something to George quick. He's trying to get access to the meeting. So as you mentioned, Kip, there's several information that we always talk about. We talk about any safety issues. We talk about this is a spot too where if there are things that are coming up with any possible changes, SLAM is at that meeting as well. We talk about if there are any inspections that need to happen. There are a lot of other people that touch the project, whether it's the commissioning agent, any other third-party inspectors, and it's a way of sharing that information so that everyone knows what's going on, and we can make sure that that everyone really who touches the project is in the know. We do talk about payments, so it really is. If you look at that agenda of items, is whether there's new business or not. It's talked about at every meeting. We talk about a look-ahead schedule. We talk about if there's any really critical key items that affect the schedule. We'll talk about them there. We along with SLAM are in communication daily on submittals and RFIs. Submittals being every bit of material that goes into the project has to get submitted on by the trade doing the work, and it gets reviewed by the design team to make sure that it's in conformance or compliance with the documents. And then same thing, drawings for the steel and windows, and those all go through and have to get approved. So there's a constant communication about the schedule for getting those things approved and what we need right away versus what we can wait on. And then there's RFIs that are the questions that are asked as we get into construction, clarifying information in the documents. So we talk about, there's a lot of discussion about those, making sure that, again, that we're keeping the project going and then we don't stumble on these little pieces of information. So that's really the basic point, is to just get the team together on a frequent basis and make sure we're keeping up with who's supposed to be doing what. One thing I will say with that is that, the minutes, Brian Kelly, our engineer, is good about getting the minutes out within a couple days of the meeting. So, and he distributes them to all the meeting attendees. And because you're all part of the same organization, you'll be able to access those meeting minutes at anytime you want, once they're published. So again, we'll go through the basics of just getting where to find that information on ACANX, and you can read them at any time after they're published. So that's really the idea of the OAC meeting, is just that frequent check-in on what's going on, and if there's any concerns that have to be discussed, that Luke or Mike or Dr. Adley have, that it's discussed in that forum.
Are there any questions about that? And I guess I've also combined the next comment too, which is about a proposed regular schedule. Are there any questions or comments with regard to either the OAC meetings or establishing our regular building committee meeting the second week of each month?
If I had a question,
Sure.
I just want to make sure that I understand the schedule that you were proposing. So the OAC meetings are scheduled for the first and third Thursdays at 1:30, and then you're proposing a regular committee meeting to be held the third Thursday. Is that right?
Second Thursday. Second Thursday.
Oh, right, the second, sorry, in between those two, the second Thursday. And what time did you say that would be?
Well, I'm going to propose at 10 o'clock in the morning, if that's good for everybody. I don't know I'm tossing it out there. If there are better ideas, please let me know.
Okay. And then one final question. Were you asking for a rotating number of members to join the OAC, or was it kind of just anyone that should?
My feeling is that it's available to join the meeting and hear what's going on. You'll find it's relatively construction oriented, which is fine. But my feeling is that the people who should attend the OAC meeting are the oversight, our subcommittee, which is in charge of oversight, because that's the group that should be in touch with what's going on week to week in the construction field. The other members of the committee are invited to listen in, to attend if they wish, but there's no requirement to do so. All the information will be available in the minutes, which are thorough, and will be discussed at our once a month meeting. So that's how I've left it right now.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, Katie, from your perspective, for example, if you think there's something important going on that the parents should be aware about, and you talk with Luke about that, I think that, please join and hear about it yourself directly or ask questions.
Okay, great, will do.
Okay. But the fact is, I'm leaving it open to people's choice. I don't feel you have to go to them. I just want to make sure you're aware of them and you're available to go if you'd like to go. Okay, so we've now come up with a schedule of, or I should say, a protocol for how to site. That was distributed, wasn't it, recently, Rusty?
No, this has not been distributed yet.
Okay. And I do have it up on the screen.
And we'll distribute it to everybody in the committee and the ex officio members if it goes through as projected here. So, David, do you want to carry it on, or Rusty?
Yeah, it's up to you, Rusty. If you want me to talk to it, or if you want to talk to it, you let me know.
You're the responsible party, so it's all yours.
Okay. So, in conjunction with the oversight committee, we want to make sure that anyone visiting the site is doing so in a way that doesn't put anyone at in harm's way. So we do have a policy that's going to be distributed, and it talks about what the priority is of safety and some of the protocols. So a couple of the things here that are key is the scheduling of visits, right? Where, if you've seen the site lately, where the gate is and where our field office is, there's a little bit of there's a space there. And right now, there's not a lot of activity between that gate and our office. However, as that building gets constructed, there's going to be a lot of work that happens between that gate and our field office where you sign in. So the key there is to contact the construction oversight committee, the architect. There's so much communication that it's typically known when someone's coming out. It's usually a phone call or a text or something to Scott Marlowe, who's the on-site superintendent. Scott is there full-time. George is there some days of the week. Brian is there other days of the week, and they're not all there full-time because of the COVID requirements as far as being able to put people in the same office. But you know, those who are directly involved, as it talks about, you know, really it's a call or a text to Scott saying, hey, I'm coming out, so he knows. And then those who are not in that day-to-day group just have to contact a member of the construction oversight subcommittee to say, hey, I'd like to take a, you know, I'd like to visit the site, and that way we can go through the channels and make sure that we know, and that if there's something that you know is going on, like a, you know, day of, say, a concrete placement where there's, you know, there's a bunch of trucks on site, that, you know, we may want to limit some of those visits during those time frames. The other thing that we should have within the next week or so is we are getting PPE, personal protective equipment, for everyone that's on the committee and the ex officio members. So you'll have your own hard hat, vest, safety glasses, that we encourage you to, you know, we'll get them down to Darien, and we encourage you to keep them with you. So that way, again, while we always have extra safety equipment in our office, the best thing is that at the point that you break the plane of that fence into the site, that you're wearing that safety equipment, just to make sure that you're seen by someone, and that you're properly donning the equipment that's going to keep you safe should something you come in contact with something. So so there's information in here about what the preferred protective gear is. You know, obviously, you know, wherever you go, you've got to wear a face mask these days, right? The hard hat, the safety glasses. Now, I must say, and this is kind of my own thing too, is that safety, if you already wear glasses for the time you're on the site, it's okay. You know, your regular glasses are okay. I mean, you're not cutting anything, but certainly if you don't wear glasses, we do like to have something over your eyes in the event that some dust gets kicked up or something. Like I said, we'll provide safety glasses to everyone. Vests, we'll provide safety vests for everyone, again, so that you can be seen by the traffic. And these are the key things, right? What you're wearing. Footwear is really important. The ground is uneven. There could be sharp objects. So if you are coming to the site, you've got to wear the right footwear. It's something that at least comes up to your ankle for footwear. Nothing that's open-toed. Nothing that's a soft sole. You know, certainly if you happen to have, you know, actual work boots, great. It's not mandatory, but you know, limit the high heel wearing. And then as far as clothes, you know, pants are preferred. Again, the last thing we want you to do is have your leg exposed and brush up against something and scratch your leg. So if you can wear, you know, pants is preferred. So, and then you know, we're there to, you know, it's your project. So we'll take you around, and you know, and make sure that as you're navigating the site, it's safe. And one of the key things is just there are a lot of backup alarms, and there's a lot of equipment going. And one thing that we talked about is that, you know, making eye contact with a machinery operator. I make it a point that if you're ever out there and there's a truck or any sort of vehicle, you want to actually make eye contact with that person, wave to them. They will wave back so that they know there is absolutely no dispute over the fact they know that you are walking around their vehicle. Unfortunately, we've learned that lesson very hard a couple times. So whenever you're out there, just if you ever walk in front of or behind of anything, you have to make eye contact with the person that's operating that piece of equipment. That's really, really important. And then when you're out there, just keep your hands and feet to yourself. That's it. Again, you know, it's exciting, right? There's going to be a lot of action going on out there, and we don't want to prohibit you from seeing it, but we just want you to really be safe when you're out there.
Let me add that ONGAP have a terrific safety record, and particularly in the three school projects, including this one that they've done in the past. In fact, in the middle school, they won an award for safety. And we appreciate your due diligence on this to continue to keep everyone safe.
Sure.
Are there any questions?
Thank you for this, Dave. It's really exciting. I can't wait to get my hard hat and go on site.
I think we ought to make sure that everyone knows what Scott Marlowe's number is, because he's the guy to really talk to. So.
Yeah. And certainly, you know, if there is someone that doesn't have a hard hat and you want to, and then you want to go out there before we get you your equipment, we can, you know, we'll let you borrow something temporarily until we get the other hats made up. So.
We just have to find some money to replace Rusty's boat shoes during the winter when he's on site.
Hey, Kip, this is Dan. It might make sense to organize so as we don't inundate the crew. It might make sense to organize a couple of dates for the committee to tour. Does that make sense for people?
I think it would make sense when we have something to really see. If you're right. You
Yeah.
don't want
Not right now. Okay.
Yeah, and that's certainly something we've done on other projects where there was a day that was chosen for a group walkthrough or something. That's we're not opposed to that either.
There will be, I think, we'll have to think about this, but it came up about the Board of Ed getting to the site. And I think to the point that was just made, not a whole lot to look at right now. We do a tour of buildings as part of the budget and the capital process in the spring. So Dave, I'll, coordinate with you and Kip and Scott Marlowe that down the road, good weather and things start materializing, we'll organize that for the Board of Ed.
Yep, and with something like that, Duke, what we've done with those is we'll typically, those types of things, we'll prefer that those are scheduled outside of the normal working hours of the project.
Sure. Absolutely. Yep, makes sense. Thank you.
Now for something that I think is going to please both Luke and Katie is Nick's idea of a job site camera. Nick, take it away.
Sure. Yeah. So on large ground up projects, it's always nice to have a job site camera that can capture the progress. We're proposing to do one for this project. It'll be 24/7 live access. People will get credit, they can log in and see it from their computer, probably even smartphone. But it also will have a time lapse record feature. So at the end of the project, we could see it kind of start to finish going up, which I think it would be pretty cool for everyone in the community. I've got a proposal for it. A company I worked with in the past, they provide the camera, which would then become town property, so it could be used in the future. And there's a monthly reoccurring charge, which again, it's pretty competitive pricing. So the total quote for the duration of the project is $10,296. And I spoke with Mike Lynch about installation, and we feel that you could place it on the corner of the existing building, at least for phase one, for a good viewing spot and to get power to it very easily. So that's the proposal. I don't know if we have to make a formal motion for it, but I'd like to proceed with that if possible.
Hey, Nick, as I was looking at some of this stuff, it's on 24/7 and it has some, I guess, infrared or night vision technology that it's on during the evening also?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nick, do you mind me asking, is it Multivista or who's the platform?
It is not Multivista. We did reach out to them. And I know you guys are utilizing them for some interior cameras. Unfortunately, their pricing was quite significant more. So,
okay,
it's a company called True Look.
Oh, okay. True Look. That's good to know. Okay.
I think it would be kind of cool if there was a TV screen inside the school showing this stuff. It'd be pretty educational for the kids.
Sure, live feed.
I like that idea. There is a TV right at the front of the school too. Nick, one question about the positioning of the cameras. They would be focused solely on the construction and would not capture any student activity?
Correct. Yeah, it would be focused on the site itself, given restrictions of getting power to it. you know, we'd focus it kind of on the upper field for the phase 1 academic wing. And then once that's complete, we'd find a new location for it on the phase 2 assembly wing. I think it'll capture people on site, but it's not meant to, you know, capture student kind of traffic outside.
No, right. I'm just thinking about privacy and security. And I know, you know, I'm not sure if Luke is still here, but he, you know, has a whole system at the school anyway for security purposes. So I just was curious about partly the overlap, and then also the just the accessibility, right? Like the cameras that Luke has now are very limited, and who can access them. So
yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, it should be limited to the construction area, and we can obviously limit access to who logs into it as well.
Well, this is a small cost item, which I think a member of the oversight subcommittee can approve.
Right.
How about that?
Nick's on the committee. I'll second him.
I vote for that.
I'm sorry, just had to take a call quickly. I'm sorry. Can I help? I just heard my name.
Just a quick recap for you, Luke. So we're proposing to have a job site camera record the progress there. We're going to put it on the corner of the existing building. It'll be a 24/7 kind of live feed. You can log in, look at the site, and then we'll have a time lapse feature. So we have you know, that at the end of the project to look at. Again, we could limit, you know, login credentials to whoever needs it and whoever doesn't. So it's a minor cost of the project. We thought it'd be something good for, you know, us and ONG and the school community.
Yeah, the only question I have is any privacy concerns for faculty, staff, kids, or we good on that front?
Yeah, so Katie just brought that up. It'll be mostly focused on the construction site itself. So, you know, outside the bounds shouldn't be an issue. And again, we, you know, would default to you guys for whoever needs credentials. We can limit that, obviously.
That's great. I think it's terrific as long as it complies with those factors. And Dave and Scott and I have been talking about educational opportunities, doing some video clips for the kids. So if it's appropriate too, and we can share some footage to the kids, that would be awesome. So thanks.
Yeah.
Luke, did you end up getting to connect with Scott yesterday?
Yeah, Scott and I talked. So he's going to work with Brian on the tech side, just get some video clips for us, and then we're going to organize and get them out.
Excellent. Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody have anything else to bring up concerning this project today?
One quick thing, because of the inappropriateness of having a lot of people in close contact with each other, we did not do a groundbreaking ceremony. I was on site a couple of weeks ago, and David and Scott and I decided to do one anyhow, just for the record. The three of us were joined by a gray squirrel who happened to be walking through the site at the time, and he was wearing a mask. So I sent you a picture of the groundbreaking ceremony. It was quite exciting, wasn't it, Dave?
It was. I was impressed that Scott was able to get the staple into the shovel handle. So, you know, and again, listen. Like I said, you know, if when times change and you feel it's comfortable to have, you know, a large gathering or something, you know, we're open to that. What the committee, you know, for whatever the committee is looking for. So, I think that's a wise move to not have, you know, 20 people standing shoulder to shoulder in the times that we are right now. So,
Katie, you have a question?
yeah, I just wanted to say that I would encourage the committee to maybe try to think creatively about a way that we could kind of celebrate this milestone without it being an unsafe large gathering. But I do think, especially as we're talking about committee members having site visits, about setting up cameras and introducing things to the students, I think it would be really nice to kind of loop the community in as well. I think there's been a fantastic amount of work that's been done, and we faced new challenges that easily could have stalled it. And I think everybody can use a bit of good news. So even if there's not a lot to see, I think it might be nice just to mark the milestone with the town at large.
Good idea. Talk about it. Not right now.
Maybe a short press release or email to the Darien Times that'll go on their Twitter feed to celebrate the groundbreaking of the new school.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, I think to Katie's point, you know, it's a large project, and given the current environment we're in, you know, it's kind of a miracle itself. This thing was able to move forward, you know, so I think it would be good, PR for everyone in town, ONG, ourselves. So.
Yeah, and I think we could keep it small, if we had, Dr. Adley and Duke and Kip even in hard hats spaced apart or something. And Luke, I was at the school the other day, and there was like this really adorable, colorful painting on some of the plywood fencing there. Was that our ELP students doing that?
So once we got authorized by Scott, he said go for it, and they're going to put some portals in for us as well at varying heights so that they're safely, kids can flip it open and see what's going on. So yeah, we're painting away.
So I think, capturing that would be fantastic too, about that, how the kids are kind of already engaging from a safe and putting their mark on it. I think that would be a great thing to include.
What was the actual date that the shovel went in the ground?
Dan, I can get that date to you. I don't remember. I want to say, well, again, it's, it was kind of a slow start. Are you talking about when we actually started? Because we were putting fencing up and things like that, but you're talking about the actual shovel full of dirt initial day?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get that. I can get that date to you. Unless George, I know you're on now. I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't know if you happen to know that date off the top of your head, but I can.
Yeah, not off the top of my head, but it's.
I think it was Monday the 11th.
Yeah, I almost of
It doesn't
December.
have to be exact. It's just the date that yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So January. It was January, though. It was not December.
There was fencing that went up in December, but it really was not until January that we started, I think, making some,
Thank you.
generating some dirt.
Yep.
All right, well, let's get together and get some people to work on this idea that Katie's bringing up, and it's a great idea, but we need some people to actually put it together. And Katie, maybe you should be part of that because you're at the school, you know what's going on. And
We're happy to help.
And Katie too, I think if you're involved in that, I think what I'll do is I'll loop our marketing and communications manager in on that, because I know he does, works on press releases and stuff like that. So perhaps he could be a resource for you in that.
That'd be great. Thanks, Dave.
Is there anyone else that I should loop in on that, or should we start there for now?
Hey, Katie and Dave, I'll join you, and I can loop in Susan Schultz, who I speak to regularly at the Darien Times, and work with your team over there. And, we can have some fun even using Rusty's picture and figure out what else we may need to kick it off. But I think it would be a fun, kind of a good news in cold, dark winter days.
And I do know that I believe that we do actually have some ceremonial shovels being made up. Again, they won't all be necessarily lined up, but I do believe we actually have something that we've started putting together. So again, Seth's been working on that. Seth Duke, our marketing director. So I'll like I said, I'll put you, Katie, and Duke in the loop with him, and he'll help you with whatever you need.
Great.
Sounds great.
Thanks.
Great. Any other business for the committee today? Is there any public comment?
Well, I just want to say one thing, just to Luke. I really, I know we talked a couple weeks ago, and you started talking with Scott yesterday, but I do appreciate your excitement and and how you're approaching the project. I know you've got a lot on your plate, and to see you excited about wanting to incorporate what's going on the other side of the fence into the kids' day, I think it's great. So we're looking forward to it. So thank you.
I appreciate it. And listen, we're not doing field trips this year, so we're lucky we got one in the backyard. So it's all good. I appreciate it, and we'll keep moving.
Great.
They're just big Tonka toys right now. Right.
Who doesn't love playing with Tonka toys, Kip?
Exactly. The real stuff.
Yeah, the metal ones, the metal ones that pinch your fingers, not the plastic ones.
No metal ones, please. There being no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion, Katie.
Katie? Do I have a
Second.
Second from Duke. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all very much. I'll get you the schedule. I'll put it out by Monday latest for our regular meeting schedule. And I sent you just in advance of this meeting the minutes from the OAC meeting that was held on the 21st, I think it was, of January. You can look that over and you can see the format so you'll understand what goes on at those meetings. Thank you all very much. And Dave, if you'll send that feed down to.
Absolutely. Will do. And I'll copy you on it, Kip.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.